Attorneys, now's the time to put it all together.
Well, welcome back to another conversation with attorney Robert Graff of GraffStandard.com, who is here to help you develop some courtroom swagger and skill. What are we talking about in this episode about putting it all together, Rob?
Well, it's about eventually a case is going to go to trial. Eventually, you're going to have to set foot in a courtroom, and now's your chance to gain the experience.
That dreaded moment will come, won't it?
Yes,
So
it
what are
will.
we going to talk about specifically here today?
Today, we're going to talk about how you should prepare and not plan for a case, how you should watch others and absorb, and how you should recognize that this is just the first step in the process.
All right, excellent. Well, those all sound good. So, yes, that moment is going to come for most people where they may have tried to dodge it and avoid it as much as possible, and we've talked before about how that avoidance is actually making the problem worse, not better. So the day is going to come, maybe you should prepare, right? So let's dig into prepare, and why do you say prepare but don't plan?
It's about preparing because you need to know all aspects of the case. You need to make sure that you can figure out every single area. But if you plan, the way I see it is planning is writing everything down and making sure you have everything, every question written out to an exact amount so that you're not even listening. A big part about going to court is listening, active listening. So if you plan too much, if you're planning a trip and you have all your details laid out, you're going to miss something. If you're preparing, if you keep that view, and as we talked about last time, an objective view of the entire case, and keep yourself a little bit detached from it, you can prepare and be ready for whatever might come up.
Yeah, I've seen this happen any number of times where, part of the problem with over planning is that you almost in your mind start scripting. And there's a really big problem with scripting when you're dealing with something interactive, which is the other side doesn't know the script. They're not learning their lines, and so if you're counting on it going a certain way in your mind's eye, you get really flustered when suddenly it doesn't go that way. Whereas preparing, you've got all of the raw materials ready in your mind, but you're flexible enough to kind of shift it around as needed on the fly, right? Am I on the right track here?
Exactly. The worst thing to do would be to talk at people. You want to have a conversation with them, and a lot about a conversation is listening and hearing and knowing or guessing what's going to come next, but being able to flex with that. The second we start writing everything down, the second we start planning so much that we think we have all aspects covered, there's going to be another aspect. There's going to be another avenue that comes up that's going to be unexpected. And then where do you go from there?
Right. And you can think on your feet when you're prepared, right? I mean, and you're going to come across much more skillful than if you're kind of trying to have things happen the way you expected them to happen, right? Because we don't have that level of control. Cool. So when you say watch and observe and absorb what's going on, I mean, what you mean in the courtroom itself? What are we talking about here?
I'm actually talking about